So Elon Musk, the Tesla CEO, is a major security risk and now a major public safety threat. This is the headlines today. The FAA is facing a major crisis without a leader because Elon Musk pushed him out. And what we're talking about here, unfortunately, there was a crash yesterday. It was a military helicopter and a passenger plane. This was in DC, and unfortunately, there are no survivors. So this is a tragedy. I know the way to put it. I don't know the cause of the crash as of yet. However, the Musk and the Trump are going to be blaming the FAA, and essentially they're calling to defund federal agencies, to fire federal employees, and get rid of regulations. And so from their point of view, they're going to say, "Oh, it's the crash's fault because we have a bad FAA or whatever." The crazy thing about this though is that if you understand kind of stuff they're saying and why their minds are effectively the minds of 13-year-old boys, it's hard to have these conversations because these people act like children. I'll give you an example. So this is the headline a week or so ago. SpaceX Starship explosion forced FAA to divert flights to avoid debris. So basically, Musk launched a rocket, the thing blows up. We don't want passenger planes, flying through all the debris. And Musk hates the FAA. Right? He's like, why can't I explode rockets over your house? Why you bother me? Just let me do what I want. Or, they'll investigate him, be like, trying to find out if his rockets are safe or not, which they're not. And so they may ground his flights, or they may, fine him, these kind of things, and he'll get angry. So, he'll tweet out nonstop how much he hates the FAA, how bad the FAA head is, etc. And so then he, gets the head pushed out. And again, they're trying to defund any kind of regulatory agencies. Already Trump, he's going to blame Democrats, he's going to blame minorities, he's going to blame women, these kind of things. That's what these people do, right? In their point of view, white guys should control everything. It is a real problem that we face because, again, you're dealing with intellects of 13-year-old boys. And so how do you have conversations with these people? And then their followers, are essentially intellect of 13-year-old boys who can't get girlfriends, right? That's this whole crowd. On top of that, this is the kind of explanations that they'll give when they have a problem. So this would be SpaceX, Elon Musk rocket company. They had that explosion. It says here, Starship experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly. That was their language. Rapid, unscheduled disassembly during its ascent burn. Teams will continue to review data from today's flight test to better understand root cause. Could the root cause be Elon Musk? Maybe. But do I, make video after video and say, "Oh, it's all because of white guy's fault"? No, I don't. It's not a categorically, type of, person is why these things. It's difficult to have these conversations because they throw it in your face all the time. I mean, I'll give you an example. They have this is your Fox News stuff, right? Elon Musk will tweet this out, and the Hegseth guy, if you don't know who that is, he had a bunch of sexual harassment issues, drinking issues. I think it was like his first wife or something like that would hide in the closet, fearing for her safety because he was afraid of her, or she was afraid of him. See who these people are. Then he'll say, "Oh, diversity is not our strength. I hate diversity, that kind of stuff. We need to have unity," right? So, from their point of view, unity, they want people all look the same, and they want those particular type of people that look like them to all be in charge. On top of that, Musk tweets out a bunch of German right-wing stuff all the time. This is just 20 hours ago. And I mean, you guys, where the stuff's going. You know who these people are. And it's like, how do we deal with this, right? And I just want to put it in, just a broader perspective. The way Musk thinks, and again, it's an intellect of a 13-year-old boy, is, I want to put my, Tesla cars out there with robot driving as fast as possible, get them out in the public, and let's just move fast and break things. He doesn't care about your safety. He doesn't care about your lives, right? And that's why he wants to defund these public agencies. So it's so ridiculous for them to be criticizing the FAA when Musk is like wants to get rid of the head and defund these people. Do you understand? Like it's just, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. I get it. Just I get it more than we talk about this stuff all the time, and it's a major threat. It's a public safety threat by defunding it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this was actually back in November. There was a report that came out. This is from the Washington Post. It says experts to FAA, understaffing outdated technology is eroding safety. They were talking about, like, I guess they don't even have elevators at work. in their, I guess, to get to the tower. So they got to walk up like really high flights of stairs. They're trying to hire more people, but just understaffed. I think they wanted to hire like 1,500 more people. A third of the people don't even pass the exam because I guess it's actually pretty hard. So it's hard to find good people. I know it's a high stress level job. I remember, if you guys remember this, if you're old, if I remember correctly, I think it was Reagan who was against the FAA also, and there was a big fiasco with, can these people strike or not? And I'm sure they want more pay and better hours, which I completely understand, right? If you overwork someone, it's going to be tough. From the Republican point of view, just defund all of them, right? If they don't want to work, just defund them. It's like, how does that even make sense? But that's the world that we live in. And I don't even know what the cause of the crash is. Is it pilot error? Is it mechanical error? I don't know. But I promise you, if the crash is involving people who look like these guys, they're not going to say anything about that. They say, oh well, it was just a mistake of the mechanical, and if it turned out that someone looks like this that that was the head of whatever company, it's just they'll just make up whatever excuse. So I don't always blame people that look like this kind of person. That's not the case. You have to just look at individuals, right? It's what we're talking about. But the way that they have these discussions, they always throw it into your face. But you have to understand like who these people are. So, for example, Elon Musk during his earnings call yesterday, which I just made a video on, he's like tweeting, right, like just crap during his earnings call. And if you listen to the earnings call, I'll just say this: he could have been on something, whatever meds. I don't know. He was making up sorts of weird crap. It was like an hour of just nonsense, telling you how Tesla's going to be more valuable than the next top 5 companies in the world combined. And then he's talking all about his robots and stupid crap. And this is like evidence of this. Like this was one of their Tesla stock promoters, Farzad. He's like, bro, get off X. You're on your earnings call. LMAO. And there's Musk laughing. And then Farzad said, bro, I literally heard you chuckle replying to this, right? So this is during an earnings call. And if you don't understand this stuff, when a publicly traded company, like, once a quarter, they come out and they go over their numbers and talk about, forward guidance, what they think about the future. And during, it's like just 1 hour once a quarter, Musk is like playing around on Twitter when this should be a serious conversation with investors. But that's how these people operate and behave. Musk has been against the FAA for a long time. This is Whitmer, right? And he's already saying, he needs to resign. This was back in September. And basically what is, again, the FAA was just making sure, hey, is your rocket safe or not? Are you poisoning the water? Other regulatory agencies would be concerned about Musk and his companies. Are you doing damage to the environment, to animals' habitats, these kind of things? And again, Musk hates all of these government agencies that put checks on his power or checks on his companies. So, he doesn't want people to check him for safety. Regarding the, it's like so much. It's so frustrating to go through this stuff. If you take a look at this, so here's an example. So this will be on September 18th, right? So reading the details, it's pretty clear that SpaceX wished to upgrade and move faster than the FAA can approve, right? So they want to just go as fast as possible. FAA would rather slow things down to make sure that things are safe. Obviously, Musk hates that. And then this would be Musk tweeting out. He says, the fundamental problem is that humanity will forever be confined to Earth unless there's radical reform at the FAA, right? So basically, if you know what that means, is he's like, the government's getting in the way. I can't go to Mars. It's all the government's fault, right? That's kind of stuff. The whole thing is stupid. I mean, you can't go to Mars because your technology doesn't work, right? And you're just trying to blame the FAA. On top of that, which is actually kind of interesting, he must get some fights with all kinds of people. So this is Jan LeCun. So he's the AI expert over at Meta/Facebook. I guess they're talking about AI or whatever. And Elon Musk even tweets this out. Like this was back in 2023. He says, actually, these airplanes used to crash frequently. Eventually, so many people died that the FAA was created to ensure the commercial aircraft makers and airlines didn't cut corners on safety. Now, flying on an airliner in the Americas is super safe. So when Musk tweets out this kind of thing, you actually understand that he actually kind of gets the reason why you'd want a regulatory agency, right? But I think when he says the other stuff in public, he's just playing to his crowd of 13-year-old boys who can't get girlfriends, right? So this is where, is Elon Musk bipolar? Does he purposely lie? I don't know. That stuff, who knows? You have to ask Musk. But the issue is, right, I think it's a good thing to fund regulatory agencies to keep people in Musk like in check, so that we're not all in danger all the time of his robot cars crashing into us or his rockets exploding over our houses. It's just my opinion. I don't think it's a crazy opinion to have. But again, these are the dangers, when you defund. Musk is, if you're curious, he's, I guess, going to be in, I don't know, is he in charge of this thing? It just says Elon Musk visits Boeing about delayed new Air Force One jets. He'll get involved with that stuff, right? It's all about government contracts, more money for him. And this is the one that's even more disturbing than FAA stuff. They sent out an email recently. They were trying to get rid of 2 million federal employees, right? And this just leaked today. Musk and allies have reportedly seized key HR office and skipped past officials to send mass resignation email. So when we talk about it, it was they found this email as a fork in the road, and basically you have to reply. Do you want to stay working in the government or not? You have till Monday kind of thing. It's like a week or something like that. This is something that Musk has done as companies before, and the basic idea then is what's being reported is, I guess Musk people got around Trump's people to send out this email to all these federal employees, and now you got these people freaked out, like, am I losing my job? Should I take their offer? Musk and Trump, generally don't treat workers very well. They don't keep their promises. This is a fight for power, right? So, what's this Musk team doing? Is it even legal? They're already being sued because, you can't treat federal workers like this and just dismiss people on a whim or whatever. And it reminds me of things, and I mention these movies all the time, but I just want to mention it again. See the movie 12/12 Today if you haven't. It's about a military coup in Korea and sort of how it works, like these kind of things. And essentially what Musk and the Trumps, like when they're fighting for power, and it's all about loyalty. So you'll hear reports of Musk and Trump. It's both of them, because you'll hear reports of both because they've been hiring a bunch of new people, right? And then they're basically doing loyalty tests that's coming from applicants that speaking honestly, I just went to interview. It's like loyalty test kind of stuff, and. The movie I would recommend too is Valkyrie. It's a Tom Cruise movie, and it takes place in Germany. You'll get the general gist of these type of movies, but the basic idea is always you have to consolidate power for your team, because in the situation of Musk, he again wants to control the government so that his companies don't get checked, right? No one looks at their stuff. So here's an example, right? And like there's so many scandals and scams with this guy. It's hard to keep track of all of them. I heard this on earnings call. I just didn't mention it yesterday, but yes, this was part of it. Headline, though, is Elon Musk admits that Tesla will have to replace old computers for FSD buyers. Not the best outcomes. So the basic gist of it is they had this thing. I think they call it Hardware 3. And before, Musk is promising you that his robot cars can be awesome, right? And just subscribe to the thing and you're going to have this awesome robot cars. Turns out their Hardware 3 is no good. They got to give a free upgrade to Hardware 4. So that means they were basically lying before, right? And now he admits that. They even said in the earnings call, the Musk phraseology was something like, well, I got to be honest with you. It's a good thing. Like he said something like, it's a good thing that not that many people signed up for FSD because now we have to replace them all to FSD to to hardware version 4. Basically, their original hardware didn't work that good, and now they got to give you another free hardware to theoretically make your robot driving better. Who knows? And then this is what we have to deal with is, how much power does this guy have? I'll try to make it as clear as possible. Musk and Trump blame the FAA, right? That's the reason why we have these crashes in DC. But in the same turn, they want to defund the FAA, right? They want to defund any sort of regulation. They want to defund, stuff like the SEC. So, we can't have any oversight on them if they're insider trading, these kind of things, or Trump wants to do whatever crypto scam that he's running. It's just basically criminals and gangsters at the top of the system. And it's frankly, it's frustrating, it's dangerous, and it's risky to, our security, whether Musk is taking money from Russians or not. That was just the report. I just talked about it yesterday. It was there was a Russian politician who was like really high up. I think like the 12th richest guy in Russia or something like of that nature. had a bunch of money in SpaceX. It wasn't supposed to because he's under sanctions. But you'll get so many reports about this dude. This is the Musk dude. And, is this guy purposely trying to destroy USA? I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word to say on purpose, but I'll just say from his actions, just from his actions and his words, it's clear that he just wants to, experiment with taxpayer money, go to Mars, and he talks about how awesome that stuff is. And then the same turn, he complains about, social services that you need. So it's like basically he want these people that, want to rob poor people to pay for their stupid experiments and blow stuff over your house. And if you call them out and say, hey, stop blowing up stuff over my house, they say, well, I'm trying to go to Mars. That's the best thing, right? Or for example, Musk, and they wants to take your power, wants to take your water, so they can build whatever stupid robots or whatever. And then if you complain and say, well, don't you see robots are the future? You're all going to be rich, and that's basically they think of you just being a bunch of ants. It's sad, and then some of these ants basically worship these guys, which is the whole thing is bizarre. And I think sort of why we got to this point is you just have a lot of desperation out there, and people want some sort of Jesus figure to come save them, and they think Elon Musk being the electric Jesus is that person. But who Elon Musk really is, he just wants to fire you. It's like fire you, take your money, take your water, take your power. It's so clear when you go through this stuff every single day, like who these people are. They even tell you in public, right? Or important meetings, they'll bring his kid, and his kid's crawling all over him in congressional meetings. I've showed you pictures of this stuff. And yet people, and this, people actually write this in comments. They'll say, oh, Chris, you're so dumb. If you're a good parent, you bring your kid to important meetings. And it's just like, what world do we live on? Like, are we in some sort of fantasy world? Do you bring your kid to your office when you go to work every day, and your kid's crawling around on you when you're like taking Zoom calls or having important interviews with people? Is that what you do? You bring your kid, and we're talking about like 3-4-year-old kids. Is that what you do? And it's like, I don't know, the amount of sort of mental gymnastics that you have to defend these people is pretty insane. And in fact, it was actually kind of funny. The Tesla stock promoters who are covering the Elon Musk call, they're all drinking during the thing, for real. And none of them would talk about the numbers of Tesla because they're just freaking awful. And then they just start talking about the future of robots and this kind of stuff. It's just like I said, it's just a mentality of 13-year-old boys. So I don't know, how long the government can function like this. I'll just say this. I mean, it looks pretty dysfunctional. And I'm really sorry to hear about the crash. And I don't know what the cause is. I don't immediately start blaming FAA. I don't know if it's pilot error. I don't know if it's mechanical error. I don't know. I'll wait for the reports to come out. But we already know what Musk and Trumps are going to say. And I'll just say there's a reason why we need regulatory agencies to maintain staffing levels at certain levels. In fact, maybe we need to hire more people and fund these people more to keep sort of these 13-year-old boys in check. So that's my thoughts on this. I want to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.